From sunny Southern California, this is the Executive Housekeeper 101 from HousekeepingRehab.com. Here now is your Executive Housekeeper, Abel Josephson.
All right, good to see you back. Good to see you back. Time to roll up your sleeves and get back into the groove of the house and the keeping. My name is Abel Josephson. Most of what I do is geared for your very first moment that you, for the first time in your career, in a hotel, become an executive housekeeper. The Executive Housekeeper 101. What I do is I give you a frame of reference, just some sort of, route down the path when you come into a housekeeping office, and it's all yours. You've got to start somewhere, and we're going to talk about these things. So I'm going to talk to you about linen and terry inventory. Inventory in your towels, your sheets, your washcloths, hand towels, pillowcases, bed linens, that sort of thing. Let's get going. The first thing that you have to understand when you go to inventory is how much do I need? How many towels do I need to buy? Right? How many sheets do I need to have in the building just to operate? In the industry, we use a term for this. It's called PAR. P-A-R. Once you establish PAR, then you do an inventory to see how far you are from PAR. In other words, just to throw out a number, if your PAR is 100 towels, all right, so you have 100 brand new towels. You go for a month in your department. At the end of the month, you take an inventory. Well, we only have 95 towels. What happened to 5 towels? Where did they go? Some were torn. Some of them were gone because they got stains that you couldn't get out. Some of them were used up in the washing process, used too often, and the quality has deteriorated. And so we had to discard these from our PAR. So we have 100 towels, we're down 5 towels. At the end of the month, you will present these numbers to your comptroller at your property. He will want to know where those 5 towels go. Why? The company that he works for, which you work for, the company above him, a corporate office, wants to know, hey, where did 5 towels go? That cost us money. You must know your numbers. So you're going to explain where the 5 towels went. They were either stained, they were torn, they were discarded because the quality fell below normal for some reason, or they just disappeared for no reason. It doesn't matter what the reason, you have to account for them. So knowing what you're supposed to have, knowing how much you lost, knowing how much you purchased, and how each month those numbers balance out on a balance sheet. Most people I've talked to, I hate inventory, blah, blah. But if it's simple, it's solved. Remember, if it isn't simple, it isn't solved. It's a real simple system, a real simple formula, and let's get into what you do the very first week you take over a housekeeping department at your hotel. The first thing we want to look at is your PAR. For me, my experience, if a company came to me and said, Abel, what should our PAR be? Let's just keep it simple. Let's talk about bath towels, your big bath sheet. PAR for me is always 3 PAR. Most companies, they want to scrimp a little bit. They'll go 2.5. They won't go lower than that, but they may back me off at 3. But I'm going to deal in the value of 3 PAR because of the simplicity to explain to you what a PAR is. Let's start with your room. You know you're going to have 3 bath towels hanging there on the wall in the bathroom. 3 towels, that's in room. You have 3 towels in the room. You just took 3 towels out because the last guest made them dirty. So they've gone down to the laundry for processing. I have 3 towels in the room. I have 3 towels in the laundry. Well, that's towels in 2 places, but we have 3 PAR. We have 3 sets of towels for each room. Where's that 3rd set? When it comes out of the laundry, it sits in the housekeeper's closets, in the linen closets, for 24 hours to rest the material. So that's your 3 PAR. 1 is in the room, 1 is in the laundry, and 1 is sitting on the shelf 24 hours a day, resting that material. In the few times when I have taken over a housekeeping department, the very first week, I do inventory. I personally go in and begin to assess my supply inventories. I mean, the first week, I got to get a handle on stuff quick. I involve staff when I do linen terry inventory because it's all over the building. It is a moving target. We're going to lock it all down, stop the program, and then we're going to send a team up to inventory. So my first week, I'm going to inventory the department on linen and terry. So, no, that last manager, that person was all over their game. Oh, they always did a good inventory. I don't believe that. Every time I have done an inventory when I came into a department, which is about 4 times, maybe 5, numbers are way off. Way off. And that's how I learned how to get us back on track. This is 10 minutes of my time and 10 years of my experience for you. By the end of the first 7 days, I'm going to find out who is going to do the inventory for me. I do not do inventory for linen and terry. This is laundry attendant, supervisor, preferably, accountability. This is supervisors on the floor, and that's about all I need. My boutique hotel has 3 floors. I have 3 supervisors, 1 per floor, 2 closets each. That is enough counting for 1 person. You can't have 1 person count everything. After a while, you go blind with the folds and the 88, 89, 90, 91. You go cray. You go cray. So divide it up. Many hands make the work light. Laundry attendant, maybe a laundry employee, counts everything in the laundry, the stained stuff, the discard that they collect. Supervisors go to each floor. That's pretty much it. In terms of stuff that has been purchased but has not been released into our operating system, well, that never happens. I don't have to count that. It's already in service. Never, ever, ever buy brand new linen and terry and then hold it in inventory as long as you can so you can make everything go further and wear out. So you can keep your costs down. Why do guests say the towels were scratchy? The towels were dingy? Because you burned them up in your laundry and you don't put the new stuff in that your numbers tell you. So I oftentimes come into a new department that has, shitty towels and sheets, and then there's 8, 9, 10 cases of product that, the manager, said we couldn't use. I get all of that out into the system. So week 1, I do my first inventory. I'm just going off on, let's say I have a month before the comptroller needs the monthly inventory. Here we go now. You're going to do a count, and you're going to take all of those numbers and you're going to put them into your spreadsheet, and you're going to see what numbers you have and what totals you have compared to what the manager before you had or the last inventory that was done. A couple of days later, I don't wait too long, I do another inventory. And then about 3-4 days later, I do another inventory. And at the end of about 7-8 business days, I've done 4 inventories, maybe 5. 4 is usually going to get me where I need to go. Why? Because it's a moving product. You've got towels that are stuck somewhere in a maid's closet. They shouldn't be. We can't see them. There's a box of new hand towels that we purchased that were put in the wrong closet and weren't count. We have these anomalies. So it is very hard to count exactly what you have. So here's what we do. We do 4 inventories in about 7, 8, 9 days at the most. And then we take all of those numbers, how many towels we had, how many hand towels, how many washcloths, how many sheets, pillowcases, top sheet, fitted sheet, all these things. And we average them all together. And that becomes for you as the new executive housekeeper, your opening numbers. And then the next month when you do, because that's as close as you can get to an accurate count, is to count about 4 times and then average all of those numbers. That's going to give you inline average, give or take, all averaged, what you actually have. Then the following month, that closing inventory number that you have will be the opening number for the next month's inventory, and then you will count again. This is what we do. The next month we count again, and we find out what the variation is or the variance is from our opening numbers. If at the end of week 1 you have 285 towels, then at the end of week 2 you have 305 towels. Well, what happened? Then at the end of week 3, you have 292 towels. See how it goes up and down? Then at the end of the next inventory, you have 292 towels. And finally, on our 4th inventory, to get us all averaged out, we did 277 towels. Every time we did an inventory, we had a different total for bath towels. 285 plus 305 plus 292 plus 277 is 1,169 towels. So when you take those four different numbers, add them together, divide the total, 1,169 by 4, you did 4 inventories, and the final average is 289.75 towels. But we just rounded off to the lower number. So we put in 289 towels. That's how much I'm going to start out with as the new executive housekeeper doing inventory. I know these numbers. I know how I got to those numbers. I know our program and our system that we used to count and when we did it and how we stopped everything in the department and nothing was moving to do the count. I don't trust somebody else's numbers from before me when I'm a new executive housekeeper. Okay, when you do these inventories, stop everything. End of day, stop everything. Everybody goes, and then you send your laundry people, you send your supervisors up into the floors and into the laundries to do the counts. When everything is stopped, you cannot inventory at 1 o'clock in the afternoon when towels are coming and going from the closets, you get it. Each person is given a sheet, and it has a listing of all the different linen and terry categories. In each closet, they mark, what closet they counted and how many of each item was in there. They don't do the totals. They just write down what they counted. Make it easy for them. I collect these papers at the end of the count, and I go in and ooh, I hit my funny bone. Ow, right here in the chair. Oh, man, I hate when that happens. Oh, so I can still work a calculator. So I take their counts, 282 towels, that person, next closet with 112 towels, next closet, whatever, and I enter it into my spreadsheet. All of those count sheets are collected and stapled together. Everything is documented, and you have a final sheet where you list all the numbers, you staple all of that together as backup, because if you've made a mistake and your comptroller says you're way off, go back and check the math on that first before you send everybody up in the building to count. Use the same people over and over. Supervisor counts the same floors every time. Laundry attendant or supervisor counts this and that and the other. You're counting what is in the laundry. That includes stuff that has been separated. As things come down and they're stained, has to be separated. We don't do that at inventory. That should collect in a bin all during the month. Then we're going to rewash it. We're going to see what we can retrieve by rewashing, and we're going to put that back into the system before we count. And what is derelict, what is bad, we cannot, put back in our program. It's set aside and it's counted. It's either stained, torn, or discard. What's discard? It's been washed too many times, right? We have to throw it out because the quality is gone. It's too old. It's been used too much. It's been used too much. Let me explain why your guests say that you have crusty, crunchy, or dingy towels. A towel is nothing more than cotton and rayon. Rayon is the body of the thread. Cotton is the coating and woven into the rayon. After you wash something 85 times in scalding 150-degree temperatures of water, or whatever they are now, 189, I think. It cooks off all the cotton. That's why it looks like a towel, it feels like a towel, but it's not white like a brand new towel. And when you put it up to your baby face, oh Lord, it's not soft and fuzzy, it's crunchy. You've washed it, it's gone, it's no good, get rid of it. Why is it when I go into my guest rooms, I have 2 really nice fluffy towels, and then one that looks flat and used and it's discard. Get it out. It's no good. It's going to hurt you in the long run. That's all separated as we go through the month, and then we count our torn, stain, and discard. So when the comptroller says, how come you're down 82 bath towels? We had 35 that get stained in a 1,100 room, hotel. 35, 122. We had 22 towels that are torn because we had a screw in our laundry chute and it kept grabbing stuff, and then when they would pull it down, it would tear it. That happens sometimes. And then we have stuff that's discard because it's just from the old school and it's done. Your inventories have to make sense. You have to explain every single thing. You have to know, oh my God, my numbers are so far off on sheets, king sheets. Where did 248 king sheets go? I just bought 150 2 weeks ago and put them into system. You better know those numbers before you ever turn that into the comptroller, Because if you do that more than once, he will micromanage your inventories. He'll come down and oversee them, and it'll be a living hell for you. Know your numbers. If you're off, you better recount. You better stop that boat, get everybody off the boat and onto dry land, and go back up and count that stuff again. We cannot run a surprise by the comptroller. He's got people above him, you know. And so we have to run a no surprises campaign. If we're going to be 185 something off and that's way too much, we better have facts to support it. Even if the facts show you made a big mistake in your inventory last week that you didn't catch till this month, right? That's okay. That happens sometimes, but you better be able to explain it. And you better know it and know the mistake and know the explanation before you ever turn your report into the comptroller. You should never have a comptroller come to your office and go, we need to talk. Last month you said this month we said that. What? See what I mean? All right, when do you do your inventory? My inventories are due on the 30th of the last business day of the month, and then they're turned in. The comptroller has about 2 weeks, 2 business weeks, 10 days to do the P&L statement for everybody, which will include your linen and terry inventories. Heads up, executive housekeeper, do not ever, I mean never, do not ever count under pressure. If your stuff is due on the last business day, let's just say it's a Friday, it's due this next Friday, don't count on Wednesday. Don't count on Thursday. You can't count on Friday. Your inventory is due. Don't count under pressure. What happens when you count on Wednesday and then, oh my God, we are way off. What happened? I need to go and check my spreadsheets from last month to make sure, because those carry over from month to month, and collect year-to-date data as well as month-to-month data. Maybe I had some formulas wrong on my spreadsheet. That's okay. Mistakes can be made with spreadsheets. I better know it. I better report it to the comptroller. Hello, I made a mistake. It was me. I'm sorry. I better report it to him. As long as you're reporting it to him, you're good. If he finds it, you're not good. So don't count under pressure. So mine are due on the last day of the month. When do I do inventory? On the 15th, halfway through the month. I stagger it. I got 2 weeks to fix it. I got plenty of time to do the math and check the spreadsheets. I got time to count 3 times if I have to. And sometimes I do. It comes out way off, and it comes out way off on the next count 2 days later. And then we count again, and it's way off. And then the third day, oh, we go back in line. What happened? I don't know. The numbers came back in line. We found what we needed. You know, it's just like that. It's a moving target. It's like whack-a-mole. Every time you try to hit the thing with a mallet, it pops up somewhere else. Leave yourself plenty of time to count inventory and count it twice if you have to. Have your numbers there and ready. Plenty of time, nice and relaxed. Just come into the comptroller's office and good day. Here's my inventory. Enjoy. Ciao. Pick the right people to do inventory. Some people like it. Some people are good at it. Some people are accurate. Some people don't like it. If they don't like to do inventory, you're not going to get an accurate count because they're what? Sloppy. If you'll time it to where it's at the end of their 8-hour day, you can give them overtime for it. Why? You can do that. I got money sitting in the kitty over here of training hours that I have not used. And I'll just take that overtime hour and a half or 2 hours they spent doing inventory. I'll just take it out of training. No problem. Keeps my numbers in check. In check. Bingo. I like numbers in check. Know your numbers. When you buy new towels and sheets after you've done your inventory and you find out how much you need, you're going to buy what keeps you perfectly at par. If I'm down 150 towels from par, I'm going to buy 150 towels to replace them. And I'll go to my P&L, my expense line on linen and terry. I'll see what my budget is, and I will buy those towels. I may overbuy. Why? I got a budget. And the company has said, we think you need, $1,100 a month for linen and terry purchases. I spend every penny of it. When I get new product, I put it into the system as quick as possible. Why? Because if you don't do that, then the stuff that you have, which is now less than what you need, it keeps being processed faster in the laundry, faster. more times per week. So it causes the machines at 200 degrees heat and harsh chemicals to burn all the cotton out of them. They'll wear out faster. It's more expensive to use linen more often than it is to have abundant quantities of what you need and only be processed in the laundry every 3 days. Remember, a day in the laundry, a day in the closet to rest. You have to rest that fabric. It's like a steak. When you get it off the grill, don't cut it. Let it rest. It keeps all the juice in it. 1 day in the laundry, so every 3 days, 1 day in the laundry, 1 day for rest, and then 1 day it goes into the room. You may or may not sell the room. For me, I've always gotten away with 3 par. 3 of each thing that I need. 3, so that's 9 towels, 9 wash rags, and 9 hand towels, 3 sets of each per room. And that keeps my rotation right. I have less everything, less problems. Okay, now let me talk about your GM and money. They want to make bonuses in sales and front desk and room revenue and parking garage revenue and spa revenue, and they're running a little tight. They're not sure so they want you to hold off on purchases, and then they hold off on purchases, and then they make their bonuses because we didn't spend, so our revenue went up, Our expenses were down, so it made up the cost we need to get our bonuses, which is worth thousands of dollars to these suits in the upper floors. Then they like that. Then after a while, because they don't understand, you have to educate your GM how a machine tears up cotton and rayon. You have to understand resting a towel. You have to know your numbers and teach them how to do it. Most of them have never been executive housekeepers. Most of your GMs at your large 4 and 5 diamond properties that have restaurant and spa and all that stuff, they got business degrees. Most of them came up through food and beverage. If you want to be sure to be a big shot GM, you better have managed a restaurant or understand food cost and plate coverage and all that stuff. Because as a GM, you got to know how to manage a chef, you see? So they don't know how to run a laundry. You've got to educate them. So you've got to know it yourself. Now let's look at the spreadsheet, and I'll show you how you go across the spreadsheet and how the math is done. You want to build a spreadsheet that does all the math. It tells you at any given moment the total amount of dollars or the total value of all the linen and terry that you own. A GM should say, what's our total linen value right now? $35,362.92. You know what it all costs. You know how much your inventory is. You ought to know. You can tell how much you have to spend and where you're at financially because you know the value, the money of what you lost, torn, stained, discard. You know how much that's worth. And so you can look at your money value or the number of units value, your count. And you can look at that and determine I'm up or down or how much money do I need to spend. Know these numbers. And if you do it right, your spreadsheet will calculate and analyze all that. Not only that, if you set your spreadsheet out right, every month it'll tell you to date what your average monthly loss is. So when you lose 175 towels, bath towels, when you do your inventory, I'm 175 off. That seems high. Wait a minute. What's the average? 152? Okay, I'm not that far off. I wasn't 175 towels last month off. I was right in line with what I was supposed to have. We did good. Now I'm almost 200 towels off. Yes, but through the year, it averages. And you know what your average is. Knowing that number, what is the average of towels we lose for whatever reason? That gives you an answer. We're still in the parameters. We're still in the proper percentage of variance here. It seems a little high, but next week, watch, it'll be a little low. It helps you manage your laundry and your department. Know your numbers. Okay, spreadsheets.
What you see here is a basic all-American brown paper bag, first grade simple, low down and dirty, Excel Word spreadsheet. This is a row from a spreadsheet. It's a very fundamental beginner's style presentation. My spreadsheets are quite extensive. I have the spreadsheet do a lot of analysis, month to date, year to date, that sort of thing on a variety of things. But let me just take you from left to right on a basic spreadsheet that you can set up. Very simple. The formulas to do the calculations on this particular spreadsheet are just adding, subtracting, dividing. Very easy. You can just go to your your controller if you don't have someone that can teach you. Anybody in the accounting office can teach you some basic formulas, and you can have your spreadsheet do all sorts of things. All right, let me just go from left to right. On the left there, you see full sheets. That's what we're looking at in this inventory as an example for you. And just reading across the columns, across the top, from left to right, open, that's our opening numbers. Those are the closing numbers from last month's inventory. That's what we ended up with, 182 sheets, which is down from par, which is 234. And so we had to do purchases. So in the next column, we show the purchases we made after we had our closing numbers last month, and the opening numbers for this month are last month's closing numbers, 182. And then you have purchases that shows how many full sheets we purchased to get us back to par. So continuing left to right, open numbers, purchases we made, and then the total of the open numbers and the purchases, which is 234. Next, you see linen room. That column is everything consolidated that we counted between the laundry, the linen room, the maid's closets, the room carts, anywhere that we had linen and terry that we counted. We add all those numbers together, all the full sheets, and we put them in the linen room column. That's basically our count from this month's inventory. Next, in rooms. That is a static number. It stays there continually 24/7, 365. 78 full sheets is what I have in my hotel every day in rooms. That's it, in rooms. Next is the closing number, which is going to be the total of the linen room and in rooms, which is 201. Next to that, we're reminded again of par. This is a fixed number. It stays there all the time, 234. That's how many full sheets I always need. So you can see the spreadsheet shows you what you had, what you purchased, what you counted this month, and then those closing numbers, and then what par should be. And then next to that, count variance, our count, how it varies from par. That's why you have the closing numbers next to par. And then a reminder there, you see that 33 in parentheses. Parentheses in accounting terminology means you are under zero or you're below the limit you need to be at. If there were no parentheses around that 33 there, that would indicate visually that we have 33 more than we need. If you ever end up with more than you need, don't worry about it, you're fine. You just don't have to purchase because you've got more than you need. So we see there that with the parentheses, we are under par by 33. We counted 201. And we have a par of 234. We are 33 below what we need. Now, where did those 33 full sheets go? You see that in the next column, stained, torn, or discard. Stained is, well, it is what it says it is. It's stained full sheets. Somebody spilt their ribs on it or their Coke or their wine or whatever, and we couldn't get the stain out, so they have to be discarded. Next is torn. Torn usually is an indicator that you have a full sheet that is, or any piece of material, it's just getting old and it's starting to fray or come apart. And especially with sheets or pillowcases, the older they get, the easier they are to tear. So we have 9 stained, 6 torn, and 11 discard. 11 discard, that's interesting, because 9 and 6 are 15. So discard is not the total of stained and torn. Discard is its own category. These are ones that the laundry manager or supervisor has determined are too old. They don't have the right quality of weave and thread anymore, and they don't meet our standards, so they've been set aside to be thrown away, to be discarded. So 3 categories: stain, torn, discard. Next, you hear total loss. All right, that's the addition of the 9 stained, the 6 torn, and the 11 discard. And we have 26 of total loss. Yes, but if you go back under count variance, where we saw that we fell under par, we have a negative 33. But we only have 26 of total loss. What's the difference? It's there in the next column, variance. The variance of total loss to the count variance. So we have negative 7 there. That's 7 sheets, 7 full sheets. They weren't stained, they weren't torn, they weren't discarded. We don't know where they are, but we have to identify and account for all of the numbers. So the comptroller would say, what's your variance? And I'll say, well, we're -7. You know what that is? That's a counting error. When you've got, 234 full sheets that have to be counted, and they're in the same closets with king sheets. We might have had 1 or 2 full sheets that were in the king sheet stack, so those got counted as king sheets and not full sheets. You have these anomalies, these mistakes, these variances, and so I'm not worried about 7 sheets we missed in our inventory. If it's 67, I'm going to recount. Something is very wrong there, and I'll just recount the full sheets. I don't have to do an entire inventory recount. But I'm 7 off. That's just, that's no big deal. That explains itself, basically. But if that number gets up into like 66 or 48 in a month where we never lose 50, 60 full sheets. So that's a great column to have because it tells me where I'm missing something or where I might be off. And trust me, it's usually the count is off. We miscounted some full sheets, and we'll just go count just full sheets. So you don't have to do a full inventory to find out what that problem is if you have one. So there you see the unit price. This is an old spreadsheet that I grabbed. It was on my laptop here at the studios. That's around about $35 now, but I just took this and adapted it real quick, real handy. So it doesn't matter what the unit price is, but on this particular sheet, it's $6.50. They're about 3 times that now. Let's see. Okay, unit price, $6.50. All right, here we go. With the unit price all the way to the right, this is all information that your comptroller looks at. And I'm going to explain something to you they probably didn't explain to you in hospitality school. Inventory value, you see $1,306.50. That value is the inventory we did at 201. You see way over there on our close, we multiply the 201 times the 650, the unit price, and we get a total of $1,306.50. Fine. Next column, par value. Par is, you go over there to the left where it says par 3, 234 full sheets multiplied times the unit cost there to the right, $6.50, and you get a par value of $1,521. And then next to that, you have a loss value. This is the difference between inventory and par value. You subtract the par value from the inventory value, and it will make, in this case, a parentheses appear around the financial number there, $214.50. The parentheses again indicate to the accountant that we are down in the value of our inventory. If we had more inventory than our par, you would have a value there, and it would not be expressed with parentheses. It would just be $214.50. He would know we have more than we need. He's okay with that. We're okay with that. You're okay to have more than your par. You never want to fall under par, because when you fall under par, when you have less than what you need, your laundry will begin to launder stuff today that needs to go back in the rooms today. That can slow down your check-in time. Or they're laundering today, but it has to go back on the next day. But that's not what you want. You want to launder today. You want the material to sit in a storage room shelf for 24 hours and rest the threads in the weave. It'll help you decrease wrinkles and that sort of thing. And the skin or the weave of the material will tighten up, which makes it less likely to tear, these things. You learn these chemistries. So we're down $214.50. And then let me say one more thing about the financials. The comptroller, the accounting office, doesn't care about where the linen was counted, doesn't care what's in room or what was counted in the linen room or stained or torn. They don't care about that. They only care about that loss value there. Here's why. Because I have loss value on all of the items that I inventory. That's my department. I have items and materials that the company has paid for, and then I have to account for them. If we have less value of what they purchased, they want to know what happened to the things we bought. So that's very important. When you have front desk, who also has inventory of supplies, when you have engineering or maintenance that has inventory of supplies, and then when you have spa, golf course, pro shops with all their clothes and supplies and gear, when you have valet, and when you have uniforms for everybody and all that stuff, well, the company pays for the products it needs to produce the presentation that they're bringing forth to the guest as a whole. So when the corporate office looks down and your controller has reported a great loss in supplies that it purchased, it wants to know, we bought it. What did you do with it? What happened to it? Why do we have to buy these products again? So the inventory value, the par value, and the loss value are very important because the controller, for example, will report total loss value of all supplies around the hotel. Total loss value. So he has to answer for those numbers. So your inventories have to be right. That's why if they're not right, he will come down or she will come down. The comptroller or the accounting office will come down and start managing your inventories. And trust me, they don't know how to do it. They'll do it in a way that will just be crazy. And they'll make you crazy because you will feel like they don't trust you. And trust is everything in business. So you need to understand and know your numbers. Okay, here we go. You got all that, a little plus information. On the far right, you see purchase, and then you see in parentheses 33. If we were over 33 sheets, you would not see the parentheses. This tells you immediately exactly what you need to purchase. You don't have to get a calculator out and do that. It's all in your spreadsheet. Now, if you saw my full, complete spreadsheet, under full sheet, you would see full top sheet, full fitted sheet, king fitted, pillowcases, king pillows. You would see duvet covers, all the supplies that I have, right? And then when I go to do my purchase order, I just go down the row here. Purchase, all right, 33 full sheets, boom, 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 boom. 15, 25 king sheets, boom, 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 boom. 148 pillowcases, boom, 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 Queen sheets, I'm 42 over in queen sheets, don't need to purchase with a purchase order. So this calculates and tells you exactly what you have, where the loss went to, and how the value of what you have, and the value of what you don't have, and how much to purchase. You'll be very busy each month managing your financials. So a very simple, first grade simple spreadsheet that does this basic math will satisfy you if you're a first-time executive housekeeper and you need a way to start out with before you gain that experience to create your own systems. If it isn't simple, it is not solved.
All right, I think that's about it. I covered about everything. If I missed something, you are smart enough to see it and to think about it and consider it and develop it into your system. You need your system that you're fully in control of. You understand the method of it, the psychology of it, the timing of it. Timing is very important on inventory. All right, let's go count some linen. And Terry, let's do it.
The hotel and hospitality industry is a type of entertainment and a form of show business. Thanks for visiting the Executive Housekeeper 101 with Abel Josephson from housekeepingrehab.com.